Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Today, we're going to learn about the Pledge of Allegiance. And we'll look some things up.
This one?
Take your Chromebooks out. If you don't have a Chromebook and you got the dictionary, you can get the dictionary out. Okay?
Face your parents. Ready? Begin.
All right, that's the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, so, I'd like to ask you, have you heard this before? Has anybody here ever heard this before? Where have you heard this? You heard it here at East High School. Anybody else? Where have you heard this? Where have you heard this? You've heard that in the auditorium. In a high school in Kentucky. Anybody else? Where have you heard this? At the soccer field, they said this. Okay, well, this is a very significant pledge that is said in this country. I'm going to read a little bit about the history of the pledge, okay? The Pledge of Allegiance is a short speech that goes, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In the United States, it is often recited at public events and is commonly recited in public schools, especially elementary schools. To recite it, school children are meant to stand facing the American flag with their hand over their heart. The Pledge of Allegiance was written in 1892 by a Baptist minister and a socialist author named Francis Bellamy. Bellamy wrote the pledge in part of an advertising campaign for a magazine called Youth's Companion as a way to celebrate the 400-year anniversary of Christopher Columbus's journey to America. Bellamy's original text, however, did not include any reference to God. The inclusion of the phrase, under God, was inspired by a Catholic group called the Knights of Columbus, who added the phrase in their own recitals, and in 1951, they attempted to make it a formal part of the pledge. However, the Pledge of Allegiance was not officially changed to include the phrase until 1954, when Minister George Dougherty recited a sermon about it while President Eisenhower was in attendance. Dougherty and Eisenhower spoke after the sermon, and Eisenhower introduced legislation, or he introduced a law, the next day to modify the Pledge of Allegiance. Since that time, under God has officially been recognized as part of the text. However, many people dispute the allowance of the phrase, under God. It is argued because the pledge is recited in public schools and at public events, it breaks the First Amendment claim of separation of church and state. In 2002, a case was brought to the United States Supreme Court by Michael Newdow, an atheist, who did not want his daughter to recite the words, under God, in the classroom. However, the Supreme Court decided that Newdow did not have the right to bring this case to trial because he was divorced and not the parent with the primary custody of the children. Because of this, they did not have to make a judgment regarding whether it represented a breach of the First Amendment. So there is a brief history of the Pledge of Allegiance. Now, in your country, your home country, do you do anything like the Pledge of Allegiance to show loyalty to your country? You make pledge. You do?
Yes.
What country are you from? Guatemala. So what do you do in Guatemala? Okay.
And then like we started singing the.
You start singing like the national anthem? Can you show us what you do? Can you sing the national anthem?
I forget it.
You forget it now.
Yeah.
Okay, who else? What country are you from? Nairobi. Okay, so Nairobi's in Kenya.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you do in Kenya? You sing. Yeah, so can you show us what do you do? Can you show us? Okay, show us. What do you do? How do you show it in your country? Anybody else? Anybody else? Did anybody notice anything that? What's your name? Sarah Kiso. Did anybody notice anything that was similar about what is done in Kenya as well as in the United States when we do our Pledge of Allegiance? What's something that was similar? Huh? Well, one was the hand was over the heart. Anything else? Some of the words? Well, I didn't understand the words, but I could feel it was coming from his heart. Anything else? Somebody told him he should do something. You said he should do what?
Go shake your body.
No, he should stand. Okay, so he stood up, he put his hand over his heart, and that's something that we do with the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay? All right. So let's take a look here.
He's there. He's fighting.
Okay, so everyone should have a handout that looks like this. Okay. What we are going to do is we're looking at our Pledge of Allegiance that's here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, can somebody explain to me what that means? Can someone explain to me what that pledge means? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the words in this pledge, and we're going to define some of the vocabulary words to help you better understand what is said when people say the Pledge of Allegiance. So what I want you to do is, in your groups, I want you to work, and I want you to define the highlighted words. So find a synonym. Who knows what a synonym is? A synonym is a word that means the same thing as another word, okay? Like, I may call you my friend, but what's another word for friend? Homie? Okay, what's another word for homie? Bro. Okay, so those are synonyms for each other. So I want you to find another word that means the same thing as pledge. Find another word that means the same thing as allegiance. A word that would mean united, republic, nation, indivisible, liberty, and justice. Okay? So go ahead and start working together on your Chromebooks and take a look and try to find the synonym. You can use the word, you can use Google to find those words, okay? And I'll come around to help you. And then when you write the word, find the word, write it on this line, okay, next to the original pledge. Write those words over here. And then when you conclude at the bottom, I'm going to have you to write the Pledge of Allegiance in your own words at the bottom. You're going to rewrite the pledge using your own words. Okay, so go ahead, I'm gonna walk around and we'll work on this individual. Yeah, you put your name right there. Okay, so I heard somebody say, what did you just say?
Promise.
You promised what?
Agreement, promise, the antonym is a break. They want the synonyms or, okay, synonyms is synonyms are-
Someone just said it. You said, I promise what?
Nazar, was that you?
Because it was correct. Somebody said, I promise loyalty.
I promise you loyalty.
I promise loyalty. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I pledge allegiance means I promise loyalty. Okay? So I'm going to write that up on the wall. Okay, that I promise loyalty. Okay, so let's look at this. So, what does the word nation mean? Nation means country. And what about indivisible?
The people.
Indivisible.
Not divide.
Freedom, the liberty to pray.
Okay, indivisible means not divided. And what about liberty?
Freedom.
It's freedom. And how about justice? Fairness. Okay, it means fairness. Okay. So now, we see up here on the board that we have our terms. Okay. Pledge means promise. Allegiance is loyalty. United is together. Okay, together or agree. Republic means the people. Nation means country. Indivisible means not divided. Freedom is liberty. And justice means fairness. So, can you take those words and rewrite the pledge in your own words? What does the Pledge of Allegiance mean in your own words now that you've looked at these vocabulary words? Can you write it out in your own words? Okay, go ahead, take a few minutes, write it down, and we'll come around and see what you got. Okay, so we said so far that if you write it in your own words, the Pledge of Allegiance could mean, I promise to be loyal to the flag and country of the United States and to its people it represents. Now, how might we finish that up?
Let me see.
And to the people it represents,
To present the doors, is it the doors of freedom?
okay, to the doers of freedom
And justice, or we call it fairness.
and justice and fairness for who?
The United States of America.
For all, who is all?
All the people.
For all the people. So that's what that could mean, that it represents the people under God, not divided, with freedom and fairness for all people. And that's, in your own words, what the Pledge of Allegiance means. That you promise to be loyal to the flag and country of the United States and to its people, and it represents the people under God, not divided, with freedom and fairness for all people. Okay? Good job. Give yourselves a hand.